I would like to talk for a moment to the addicts. Um, I imagine that this was going to be seen by a lot of people. Addiction touches everybody. If you're not an addict yourself, you love somebody that is, or you have a child that is, or you've lost someone to the disease of addiction. And I have some things to say about addiction. One thing I want to say is nobody chooses to be an addict. I know when you're not an addict and you watch addicts, at some point you ultimately smugly say, well, it's a choice. They've made a choice. And many times we do choose to use again. And yes, that is a choice. We were not using yesterday and today we're high when we chose to do it. What I want to say about addiction is that it is not a character flaw. It is not a total moral ruining. It would be simpler if it was. When I was in my active addiction, never did I not care. Never did I not love my children. Never did I not love my parents. Never did I wake up and go, oh, I'm so glad that I can waste my whole day chasing methamphetamine today with the scums of the earth in the violent dregs of society. That's not how it is. It's not what it's like. It's appalling. It is shameful. It is horribly humiliating. It is scary. It's embarrassing. It is just miserable. And because it's so compounded, because it's so complex, because life is messy and it's hard to clean it up, it's very difficult to combat. It's a go-to comfort zone that etches itself into our brain and into our makeup. And when things get tough, even though we know, even though we've seen that it's not the answer, even though we know it's not going to fix anything, somehow it becomes our due north. And it's what we gravitate to fix everything over and over again. I can't tell you the times I can point to where if I had stopped right then, this other catastrophic event would not have happened. They are so obvious to me when I look back over my life. And I caused so much pain to people that I love dearly and to myself. I've hurt my children. I've hurt my parents. I've hurt society. And ultimately, I am responsible for that. I am. And it's taken the power of God to change that for me. And it's not an instant fix. It's not a quick one-time over. It's a constant battle. And so, if you're an addict, I encourage you. I encourage you to pursue God. Support groups will help. NA helps. All that stuff helps. But none of it healed me. None of it made me whole until I could receive and accept the love of Jesus. That is when everything turned. That's when it all changed. When I let Him wash over me and through me. When I let Him make me brave enough to discover what was broken and help me mend it. When I could look me straight in the face in a mirror and know that I was doing good because He was helping me do good and He was living in me. Everything changed. Drugs are not the problem. They are what we go to fix the problem. And if we don't fix the real problem, we just keep repeating it over and over and over again. I have had different marriages. I've had different sets of children. And the problems that sent me running back to drugs are alike and very different. If you don't have God, if you don't get yourself squared away, it will always be something. And I can't tell you how grateful I am that my pancreatic cancer diagnosis came now and not before, when I was knee deep in drugs. And I've been diagnosed, thought a couple times about, wow, if I just started getting high right now, I wouldn't have to trip on all of this. And it's so true. You know, I could pick up dope tonight and by tomorrow be worried about if I could do something illegal, if I could pull this off, or if I could get that off. It would change that fast. The minute methamphetamine enters my body, God and his agenda leaves. Not because he left, but because I threw it out. And it takes all the hope, it takes all the shine, it takes all the glow, it takes all the happiness and all joy or potential for it with it. And what I didn't understand for so long was that the biggest fear, for me, the biggest fear is the absence of joy or the absence of hope. And the pain that I was trying to numb, the pain that I was trying to escape from, doesn't hurt nearly as much as the absence of joy and the encompassing darkness that comes. So you're not in pain, but you have nothing to be happy about. You have nothing to look forward to. You have nothing to be proud of. You have nobody to count on. There's no good. There's just no good. It's an absence of good. And that is awful. Just awful. And when I sit and I think and I feel like what that was like, I can't imagine it. And my one wish for you is that you would be brave enough to feel the pain that you feel and walk into it. Lean into that pain and walk towards the solution of that pain. And the solution of that pain is acceptance and love and forgiveness and good people, and God can give that to you. If you don't know where to go, what to do to start, go to a church. You could go to my church. Valley Christian Center will welcome you no matter who you are. Encounter Church will welcome you no matter who you are. If you're in San Francisco, C3 Church is the same way. I know because I did it. I did it. I walked in there without teeth, with no clue, with no idea, and I got exactly what I needed. I'm not special. I didn't have some kind of special card. I didn't have a VIP pass. Nothing. I just knew enough about God that he had walked through prison with me, that it was the shadow of the dead. That place was, and I was shined a light there, and I found other lights shining there. And if you can do that in prison, you can sure do it in Fresno or San Francisco or anywhere else that you are. You go find a church. That is why Jesus gave us the church. And you can get caught up in church politics, you can get caught up in church stuff, and If you are caught up in that and you are judging a church based on that, you're going to a church for the wrong thing. You will find exactly what you need at any church you go to. And if you don't find exactly what you need, you will find exactly what you need to look for in the next church you go look for. And you will find it. There are people there that are good, that will help you, that will love you, that have God shining in their eyes, that don't judge you, that hug you, that welcome you. My story does not make me suspect in my church. My story does not make me tainted in my church. My story makes me a miracle in my church. And those people help me. They help me every single day. I could not have done this alone. I couldn't have. I had to get outside myself. If I would have come back to Fresno and sat in my apartment and went, oh, my dad died and I don't have a job and I have all these felonies and what am I going to do? I'd still be sitting there. I don't even know if I'd know I had pancreatic cancer today, because I would just be there miserable. I probably would have gotten high. What you have to do is you have to pursue God, just like you pursued your drugs. I have to have God today, and I'm going to get it. And it's not in anything except that. It's, okay, there's a certain amount of hours in a day, and what am I going to do in this day? Give. You have nothing. You have nothing, well, you have you. You can always give you. Go serve somewhere. Go to prison fellowship and serve. Clean a bathroom. Go to the Poverello house. Go to the mission. Go to your church. Ask them what they need done. Find people that are hurting. Go to the Dream Center. Volunteer there. There's all kinds of opportunities. God is working in these places. You don't have to go find God where I did. You don't have to wait until you are absolutely at the dregs of the world and have lost every single thing and are sitting in CCWF on the prison yard. You can do it right now. You can just decide today, I am not going to seek drugs. I'm going to seek God. And I'm going to seek that people see God in me today. And I'm going to go do something good. Get up out of your house, get dressed, and go do it. I promise you it will bless you. It will bless you in a way that you will not even believe. You'll get home and you'll be happy. You will be happy. And happiness is like this fleeting thing that nobody can obtain. And it's, now that I understand it, it's so easy. It's so easy to get a piece of it. You just have to take it. And you have to participate in it. You have to be alive in it and be alive in your life and go out into it. It's not going to come knock on your door. That publish your sweepstakes thing doesn't happen. It doesn't happen with money. It doesn't happen with happiness. It doesn't happen with joy. And it doesn't happen with God. God is right there inside you. Take Him with you and go use Him to serve other people that need Him worse than you do. And it will happen. It will absolutely happen. It's the same thing when we seek our drugs. We want this thing fixed or we want this thing numbed. So we go looking for the drug that does that for us. Then we meet other people. We meet other people that are doing the same thing. We compile our efforts to get more drugs, to be number, to be so that we don't feel anything else, so that we can get all together and be co-defendants in some kind of illegal activity or some ridiculous shenanigan. And we comfort ourselves in the fact that we're together in this and that here we are and we have each other. And we create these things in our mind where we have these bonds. And all of that is a lie. It's all an illusion because it's all based on the fact that first we're going to numb what's wrong and we're going to take it out of the equation. And then we're going to comfort ourselves with all this stuff that's not real. Well, I'm telling you, you have the right idea. It works for the real stuff in a real way. But first you have to acknowledge the pain, you have to acknowledge what's wrong, and you have to choose not to numb it. And then you have to go find other people that also have those pains, that are also not numbing it. And then you compile with them your efforts to feel better and to combine your efforts to do good. And good multiplied by good fixes everything. Whereas dark multiplied by numb, multiplied by isolation, multiplied by numb, fixes nothing. There's not enough drugs in the world to fix that. And there is plenty and plenty of joy. There's plenty of happiness. There's plenty of good people. I would have sat and I would have told you that people are no good. They're not trustworthy. They're suspect. They are just out to get you. Well, you know who I was talking about was myself. That's the kind of person I was. That's the kind of person I gravitated to. That's the kind of person I surrounded myself with. And that's what I had. Well, if you become a good person, if you fill yourself with love, and if you do the right thing, I can't tell you the joy, just the pure joy from knowing I do the right thing when nobody's looking. Not only do I not go to efforts these days to steal or take things that aren't mine or whatever, if I found somebody else's thing, I would return it to them. I would harm them in no way. I would do nothing evil or bad with that. I am trustworthy. I am good. I am a safe bet. I am a good friend. I am the same person I was when I did the other. It's a choice I made. I decided to be good versus evil. I decided to welcome God versus the enemy. I decided to participate in making the world a better place. And when you decide to participate in making the world a better place, it doesn't really matter how bad the world is. Where you are and the direct area around you is going to be affected, and it's going to be affected, and it will affect other people. And that's the concept of I'm going to flourish. I'm going to flourish, and you're going to flourish next to me because I'm flourishing. And when you flourish, the one next to you is going to flourish, and we're all just going to keep flourishing. And it's just a matter of changing your mind. It's not a matter of coming into money. It's not a matter of having your kids return to you. It's not a matter of having your family love you and welcome you back. It's not even a matter of having a home. It's a matter of deciding wherever you are, whatever you're doing in that moment, to do the right thing. whatever the right thing is. And we all know what the right thing is. I can remember choosing the wrong thing. I remember choosing the wrong thing until not only did the wrong thing seem like the right thing, but it seemed like the only thing available. I could justify what I had done so much that not only were my victims not victims, they were just idiots. And they had it coming. And that is so wrong. That is so wrong. But that is how it slides. It slides from taking a little permission to do something that's not the right thing, and another little permission, and then maybe telling a lie, and then maybe taking something that's not yours, and then, well, you didn't have any, and I don't care if it's milk and your children are dying. No, it's not the right thing. Go about it the right way. There are umpteen ways that you can get that milk from a place that will gladly give it to you for your children. You can get that, whatever it is you need, you can get that need met in the right way. You can. And it doesn't even take as much effort as doing it the wrong way if you start out with the right intention. I know because I've done it. Last Christmas I had no money. This Christmas is coming, I have no money again. But last Christmas I had no money. And it was my first Christmas home. I've learned the lesson of my children don't want things, they want my presence, as in my person available to them. I went to prison for getting things illegally for them because I had no money, and I thought they needed to have it so bad, and it took me away from them. They didn't end up keeping those things that I got them illegally. They didn't have them, they were just missing me, and I know this lesson. And so now here I am facing Christmas. They're so glad to have me home. I want to give them a wonderful Christmas. I want to do all this stuff for them. I have grandchildren that had never met me before. Of course, I want to be grandma that's now home, and here's Christmas, and Merry Christmas, and here's your presents, and I have nothing to give them. Nothing. And I just wanted to crawl in bed. My dad had died. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to crawl in bed. And I decided that, no, I've learned this lesson. I've learned this lesson, and now I need to apply it. I need to walk out in what's not familiar to me and do what I've gained and what I know. And so I went to prison fellowship, and I wrapped angel tree presents for inmates' children. And I did that every day. I had no idea how I was going to solve my problem. But I knew that the same time was going to pass, that whether I was solving my problem or not. And I could sure solve somebody else's problem while mine sat. So that's what I did. And I was so blessed by the fellowship with those women, and by their loving me, and the way they treated me, and it made me feel good, and I knew I was helping those inmates, and I got to make those phone calls. I got to see those papers. Like last time I saw one of those papers, I was on the yard filling it out. And now I got to be the one calling and going, yes, I'm calling about so-and-so's children. We're trying to locate them because we're trying to send them gifts from their parent for Christmas, and blah, blah, blah. And I got to spend all that time, and I got to wrap the presents and send them out. And I got to do that having no idea what I was going to do for my kids. And then Angel Tree blessed me with presents for my children. It was not a big amount of money. It was $100 altogether. And I was just so blown away. And I got to go to Walmart to pick out presents for my children, and knowing that they were coming straight from God, And so I went there, and I selected stuff so carefully because I had no extra money to pay if I went over. And I got in the line, and a woman tapped me on my shoulder, and she said, "Ma'am, Merry Christmas." And I said, "Thank you." And she said, "God wants you to know He's so proud of you." And she handed me a gift card. And I couldn't believe it. And I just thought, that's probably $10 or something, whatever. So I gave it to the lady first, and she rang my thing up, and it was $110 that I had purchased. And I wasn't going to have enough to pay for it. And I gave her that gift card first, hoping it was going to be the 10 I was short. And the gift card was for $110. And so I still had my original $100 gift that I hadn't spent yet. So now I could go home, and I could think about my grandkids, and I should get stuff for my grandkids, and what would they like. So I asked their moms what they would like, and I tried to pick what they would like, and make a plan so I could do that. And and as I was doing that, I was talking on Facebook and sharing with someone about how frustrated I was and how hard it was, and she contacted me and blessed me and said, God's really put it on her heart to help me with some presents for my kids. Would I meet her at Walmart? So I met her at Walmart, and she bought me presents for my children and gave me a $50 gift card so that I could buy Christmas dinner for them. And I was able to spend the $100 in gift card that I had originally on my grandchildren so that me and my son could have presents for them. And I went home, and I was just, that was probably the most meager Christmas ever in life for me, for doing a Christmas, but I was so blessed. I just couldn't stop crying. I was so blessed. Then a knock comes on my door, and my friend Allison from Texas has sent me a FedEx, and I thought it was going to be cookies or something crafty or something, but no, it was money. And she's just like, "Doll, go get something for those kids for Christmas and do something for yourself." And I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" And she's like, "No," and I couldn't believe it. So then I got to buy a present for my son, and I got to send something to my other son, a gift card in Northern California, and I was just amazed at the provision God had for me because I was obedient, because I didn't sit and mope and cry. And now there's a chance that you could be obedient and none of that would happen. But there is not a chance that you wouldn't have joy. You would absolutely have joy by the serving. The day that I left from my last day of doing the volunteer work, if none of that had happened, I still would have been full. I still would have been blessed. God just doesn't leave us empty. His word doesn't come back void. He doesn't come back null. It comes back full and flowing because he's alive. He's not dead, and he's paying attention. And you need him. You need him in your life, and your children need you to have him in your life, and they need him in theirs. And it's just one of those things that is sitting right there, right by you, all the time, inside you, in your heart. You just have to open yourself to it. You have to just be available and welcome it. And sometimes that means walking through that pain, that initial pain. There's emotional pain, there's physical withdrawing from addiction pain, there's fear, there's abuse, there's not a single pain that I could come up with that I haven't experienced in spades. Just pain to where you just barely can open one eye and try to take a breath, and it's just like, it just hurts too much. And I can think of so many painful days. And if you'll just step up, if you'll just fall on your knees, and you'll just tell God, I have no resources. I have no resources to deal with this pain. I need you. You will come in a mighty way, and he will help you deal with that pain. Whether it's because your husband's cheating on you, whether it's because you're poor, whether it's because you're unemployed, or you're homeless, or you're addicted, or you're abused, or you've been abandoned, or I've been all of that. Whether you're in too deep criminally, whether you're fear, whether you're afraid you're going to be murdered, but whatever it is, there is a solution to that pain. And the solution is to get God, strap on his armor, walk with him through whatever it is that you're facing, and come out the other side. Pancreatic cancer is the only time that I'm having to strap on this much faith, because everything else, like up to now, the hardest one was turning myself into jail, turning myself into prison, knowing I was facing 25 years, and just praying that when I kissed those little girls goodbye this morning, and they say, "Well, you'll be back, right?" And I told them, "Well, I'll be back, but it's not going to be today, honey." Like, I'm just thinking, please get me back before, like, they're too grown, or before. I had no idea. And I don't know how I did it, except for God. That's the only way. I just felt him, and I just knew, and it was going to be all right. And I was facing 25 years, and I came out after serving 3.5, missing my teeth, but I came out and just promised, I'll serve him, I'll serve him, I'll serve him, whatever I do for the rest of my life, because he has not forsaken me. And in that journey, I came to understand so many things, and I came to love myself, and I came to love him and trust him and forgive myself and forgive my husband and forgive everybody else that I thought had wronged me, and see that really they haven't even done anything but what they could do. And none of us are perfect, and we're all trying as hard as we can, and life's a mess. This is a fallen world, and there is so much going on here, and we either participate in the chaos of it, and we participate and add into the evil of it, and we pour into the hurt of it, or we step back and go, no, I'm going to add into the joy of it. I'm going to partake in the joy, and I'm going to flourish the joy, and I'm going to multiply the joy like loaves and fishes. And I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what I've chosen. And so yes, I could go, really? Like pancreatic cancer now? Like I've walked through all this. Like what got me through walking into that prison was knowing if I could just get to the other side, I could do this great life, and I could succeed, and I could give back, and I could fix it all, and I could make it up to my kids, and I could make it up to my parents, and I can't. In the time I have to live, I can't fix it at all. In fact, I'm hurting them again. Because now you see me, now you don't. And I know it's been great to have me here for a minute, but it's this little cruel trick, and I'm going to be gone again in a flash, and you're going to be devastated. And I can't help you with that either. So sorry. That right there could take me out. That could make me just think it's all for nothing. And what is the point? And I refuse. That's the enemy's lies. That is the enemy's lies. There is a point. I have done much since I've been home. I've done much for God, and I've done much for my children. And I'm leaving them a legacy, and I am building a relationship with them that, yes, it's going to almost kill them to lose. And it's going to hurt, but it's going to sustain them. And they're going to remember this me. And they're going to know that their mommy was good. And that I loved God, and that He loved me. And they're going to know when I die that I'm with Him, because they're going to see evidence of that in my life. And they're seeing evidence in all the people that are showing up. They're seeing evidence of Him manifesting Himself over and over again. And the provisions He's making for me, and just every little detail. There is an accountability on His part for every little detail. And now that I've practiced at seeing it, and I'm practiced at looking back going, whoa, that was God. Now I am building up muscle to where I can go forward into this knowing it's going to be God. And that is such a blessing. It's the way I get through each day. Just like, okay, God, what are you going to show me today? Today, He showed me the marvelous opportunity of making this video with a wonderful woman that He put it on her heart to do that, so that I could share with you some of the things I've learned, and hope that you can grasp it somehow and maybe shortcut a big fall. Maybe look back at something that happened to you and go, that's what that was. And know that it was God. It was Him. It was Him making provision for you. And sometimes it's not so obvious. It doesn't all show up in a big, brand new car wrapped in a bow. It doesn't look like that. How could anybody suspect that me being without my teeth could help me then later be without my hair? And how could that look like a blessing? Well, when you're sitting like I am right now with hair down to my waist, and you're looking at going into chemo and being bald in 2 weeks, that's a comfort. It's an absolute comfort that I know I could sit through half this video without my teeth. I can walk around in the world without my teeth, and I'm going to be able to do the same thing without my hair. It's a comfort. That is a rock solid provision. It might not seem like that. Would I choose it? No. Would I rather have a car, and would I rather get a good job tomorrow and find out this cancer is, a void diagnosis? Absolutely. But that's not the deal. The deal with God is the real deal. The real deal where you are, not where you wish you were. The deal is I will provide for you where you are, whatever that is, and give you what you need to get through it. And what I need to get through right now, getting the nerve to shave my head and be bald for chemotherapy, is the real assurance that I've done this, I can do this. And I already know who I am without my looks. I know who I am in Jesus. I know I will be received and loved and accepted. And I know if I do it right, it will be a blessing to me and to others. That's huge. Do I still dread it? Absolutely. But it's going to be okay. And God can do that for you in every little thing. It makes the other things look so easy. So what I encourage you to do is just to look for that in your life and trust Him with it and be open to it. Everything's not the disaster. Everything's not an absolute trauma drama that it needs to be. And some things are. Some things are just as bad as they could ever get. Some things are just as unfair and scary and wrong as you're ever going to face. And I'm telling you that God will provide for you if you can just open yourself up and reach out to Him. And if you block the fear, and if you block God, and if you block the pain, you're also blocking the joy. And that, my friends, is a very big shame. I have found much of my joy walking into my pain. I have found many of my blessings at my darkest moment. And I am not special. I am no different from anybody else. It is available to everybody on equal measure. You just have to be willing to take it.